Hi, this is Yona from Field Teen Center, here to tell you what to expect if you decide to read Stan Stanley's The Hazards of Love, Volume 1, The Bright World. In case you didn't know, The Hazards of Love started out as a webcomic that has since been compiled and printed as a graphic novel. Long story short, you'll like this story if you're interested in a spooky story about inequality suffused with Latinx and queer culture. It's great for fans of Spirited Away or Disney's Coco. I could just leave it there, but I'm not going to. I'm going to go into depth about the art, story, and themes to help you decide whether or not this series is for you. First of all, the art is a very unique style. It looks inspired by Mexican folk art, because it is. So that means lots of highly saturated colors. It's also printed against a black background, which adds to the kind of dark atmosphere, and it's pretty unique for a graphic novel. I will say that sometimes the images are really saturated and dark on that dark background, which can make it a little bit hard to see some of the characters who are dark. The style reminded me a little bit of Mooncakes by Wendy Zhu, so if that style appeals to you, you might like this. If it doesn't, in my personal opinion, the story is much stronger than the art, which is, of course, my personal opinion, and you might disagree. Now, the story is pretty interesting. The main character, Amparo, is queer and Latinx, and they very quickly lose their name to a talking cat who body snatches them and kicks them out into this sort of underworld called the Bright World, where this nameless protagonist very quickly learns that it is very difficult to be a new person in this space, and especially to be a human. There are monsters all over this world that think humans are delicious, and when they're not eating humans, they're exploiting them for cheap labor. The story explores labor inequality and abusive work situations, and also immigrant experiences and undocumented experiences in a lot of detail. I thought those were the strongest and most interesting parts of the book. There's also some cool world building. This is a world that has cars that look kind of like retro Oldsmobiles, but with grasshopper legs. Different kinds of monsters coexist next to each other, or fail to. Because The Hazards of Love was adapted from a webcomic, the plot does kind of meander. There are definitely parts that go really fast when I thought they could have been slower, and there are parts that are just kind of really slow or really patchy in ways that might not have happened if it had been planned as a book the entire time. So I think if you know going into this that the pacing is a little bit all over the place, it might not be a problem. Or if you're used to reading webcomics, it might actually be welcome. But if you're more used to a traditional graphic novel or even novel, it might come as a rude shock. The story does also end abruptly on kind of a cliffhanger. There is a volume 2 coming out, and it continues as a webcomic. So there's definitely more, but it is written in a serialized way. So this is not the kind of volume that you can enjoy as like a self-contained story. There are lots of loose ends and intriguing trains of thought to follow for future volumes. So, are you going to read this book? Are you going to pass? We would love to know your opinion, so get in touch with us. You can DM us on Instagram, you can email us, and of course, you can always visit us in person at Field Teen Center. We're located at 1901 Vine Street. We're open Monday through Friday from 1 to 5 p.m. These hours can change from time to time, so for the most up-to-date information, follow us on social media and check our website. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope you find something great to read.